Hey, this is Jesse with Create This. Today I'm going to show you how to do some MC4 solar panel wiring. This is the kind of wiring that you would want to do if you bought some solar panels and maybe you've got a small solar electric generator, or maybe you even have a large installation in a residential area or something like that, so it's convenient. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do today is I'm going to swap these cable ends. These are cables that go to my 40 watt solar panel that I showed in my previous video about the Goal Zero Yeti 400. So I mentioned in that video that the Goal Zero has that 8mm adapter that adapts to MC4 connectors. And I also mentioned that the polarity is reversed on the labeling, or at least mine was. So what ended up happening was I swapped the cable ends on the Yeti 400's adapter cable to get the polarity right. And I later bought 2 additional solar panels. I'm going to be showing those in a video coming up here shortly. I bought 200 watt solar panels, and they had MC4 ends on them already. This solar panel did not. So what I learned from that is that these male connectors here with a little O-ring on them are usually positive. Okay, that's usually positive polarity. And what I've done is I've labeled this cable here. You can see the plus sign right here. This is actually my positive cable coming out of the junction box on the back of the solar panel. So I'm going to swap these ends so that the O-ring connector is on the positive cable. So pretty straightforward. And the way we do that is we take our wire cutters. You cut with this part right here. You don't cut with this. This is like a clamp up here. And this is a stripper. These are all strippers here for 10-2 or 12-2 household wiring. So you ignore these. I just use the cutters here. And I'm just going to cut the end off. Pretty simple. Boom, done. Do the same thing for this one. Cut the end off. All right. And now you can see the exposed copper in there. You can see how thick the insulation is around it. I mean, these are really heavy-duty cables, and it's stranded wire. So that, that's good for DC. It's good for AC, too. It gives you the maximum electron throughput, because electrons travel on the outside of the copper, not on the inside. So if you have more outside surface area, like with stranded wire, then your cables don't get as hot and they can carry more current. Okay, so the next step is going to be to strip these wires. For this, I use the automatic stripper. And what I do, I only need a little bit of cable here on the end. I only need to fit the end of the cable into this part that's sticking up right here. So I'm just going to strip just enough to put in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the copper inside this hole in the center here. It's labeled 10 for 10 gauge. I'm going to put the copper there, and that way the rest of it will cut the insulation, and I'll get a nice clean strip, hopefully. That's the goal. So here we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Nice clean strip. I didn't damage the rest of the cable. So do the same thing over here. There we go. Nice clean strip. All right. So the next step is to take the caps off of the back of these things and put the caps on the wire. Okay. You always want to do that because you don't want to forget. Then you'll you might have trouble getting the cap on if you've got this thing on already. Usually they'll slide over all right, but I wouldn't want to risk it. So I like to put the cap on first. And then what I said before is that I'm going to be doing the positive over here. So this is going to be here and that's going to be there. And then here's the tricky part. You've got to figure out which one of these pins goes in which connector. And so one of them is male, but they're both hollow, right? But one of them is male and one of them is female, and they just fit together like that. So what I do is I look at the existing connectors, and it looks like the flat connector here has the male side in it. Can you see that? Flat connector has the male side. Yeah. Okay, and the female, or the what looks like the male connector has actually the female metal part inside of it. So anyway, that's kind of confusing, but that's what I'm going to do. So this one's going to end up being the O-ring connector, so that's going to have the female part, and this one's going to be the flat connector, and that's going to have the male part. So I'll just set that aside. So now we do the crimp, and this is pretty straightforward. My wires are going to run away from me because I was using the crimper tool to hold them down. There we go. All right, so with this, you can see that this crimper tool has a profile to it. Hope you can see that. It's got a little bit of like a bump in the center there, and that's going to be the part. This is the part that goes on this side of the pin. Okay, so you want the pin to be oriented with that side in like that. Okay. You don't want the profiled part on the bottom. That's not the way it works. The bottom goes on the smooth part. Okay. So what I'm going to do is put that on there. I just hold it on, hand tight. Then I'm going to take my crimper tools in my other hand, and I'm going to seat that on there. I'm just trying not to let anything move. Don't want anything to move around. I'm hoping you can see this as I do it. Yeah. So I've got it in there, and then I'm just going to clamp down. And this is a ratcheting crimper, so it's pretty easy to do. But then you clamp down all the way. Once you go all the way, they open back up again. Okay? And then you've got a nice crimp. And I'm tugging, and I can't get that cable off, so that's perfect. And then when you put on your plastic end here, you push until it snaps. So there wasn't a satisfying click that time, but I gave it a little tug and it didn't come off. That's exactly what you want to do. And then you just want to screw on the end here. And I've got some of these where the end doesn't screw all the way to the base. There's like a little bit of thread left. And that's perfectly fine, I think. I don't think you have to screw it all the way to the base. You just want it to be nice and snug. There you go. There's an end. So that's my positive side. And then here's my negative side. So same thing here. Real easy, real fast to do this. Put it in the crimper. I only use that one. Oh, I dropped it. I only use that rear crimping section there. I don't know what the other two are for, honestly. Maybe for thinner diameter wire or something. Gently place that in there. It's a little awkward doing this on camera. It's a little easier doing it when I don't have an audience. All right. Yeah, put that on there. Okay, crimp down all the way. There we go. There's a nice tight connection. Now we push it all the way on. There, you heard that click that time, I think. Then we just screw on the back. And that's it. We're done.